Hi, I'm Rob from Kimpex, and here today I'm going to introduce you to an exciting new product, the Commander HD4 track system, the first and only heavy-duty four-season track system on the market that has been designed with maximum durability and low maintenance in mind. And today we're going to talk to you about the different points that make it capable of such claims. Kimpex paired up with the Susi Group, who's responsible for making industrial and agricultural track systems, and they borrowed the technology from that to bring it to this track system for the UTV market. This is the first true four-season heavy-duty track system that can support up to a 4,000-pound vehicle weight. It was designed to be as rugged, as reliable, as maintenance-free, and as comfortable as possible, and we're going to go into those points to show you what makes it like that. Designing this track system from the ground up, we decided to ditch the traditional steel tube frame and instead have a single piece cast aluminum frame. This allows us to bring the product up to having a 4,000-pound vehicle weight, and the other added benefit also is for it to remain corrosion-free throughout its life. Here we have a frame system that's been removed from the track to better show you its solid cast aluminum construction. So the two arms here that take the load of the vehicle, these are solid aluminum, and you can see that by looking here at the back. So they have not been hollowed out, and they are extremely thick. At the heart of the system, we have a double row tapered roller bearings, and this is being used to replace what was previously used, which was about 2 or 3 of these ball bearing style, which, as you can see just here visually, they're not created equally, are they? And that allows this system to be much more robust and take much more of a load. Another component that we focused on to give this system its maximum durability and resistance is this 40mm forged chromoly axle that the bearing itself mates to. Now, this bearing is the same style of bearing that's used in many trucks and many cars, and this is also going to be very durable, but it's also going to be a lot easier to maintain. Now, this system was designed to be almost maintenance-free, but if ever you do have to maintain it, it's a 4-bolt system, and you'd simply take these 4 bolts off and the unit would come out as you see here on my right. So for any hunters out there or anyone who submerges these tracks for extended periods of time, we've created yet another layer of protection. This is a sealed bearing unit. However, we've also created this patent-pending triple lip seal, which you can put here inside. So that is 3 other layers of protection, water protection. And also, another interesting feature is we put a grease port here. The grease port is not to grease the bearings themselves, but in case any water did get past 1 or 2 layers of that lip, you would add grease in here and it would help push the water out, keeping it constantly lubricated with grease. With maximum versatility in mind, this unit right here is equipped with the main axle that has 4 bolts that will accommodate any 4-bolt pattern. We also sell a main axle that accommodates 5-bolt and another main axle that accommodates 6-bolt patterns. When designing our sprockets, we decided to go with a much more higher-end material. Normally the material being used is UHMW, but that is injected. We've decided to go with compressed UHMW. The difference being is that it's a lot stronger and abrasion resistance. In fact, it's the same material that's used in some military applications. Certain tanks with rubber tracks also have the same system included. Another feature of our sprocket design is that we have a different design for the front of the vehicle and the back of the vehicle, because the front of the vehicle and the back of the vehicle have different demands. The front, you have to turn and steer, and most of the power transmission is to the back, but on both of them, we've designed the lugs to be as wide as possible for better power transmission. In order to completely avoid the possibility of ratcheting or of the sprocket, in other words, slipping on the track itself, we have this new design of the teeth of the sprocket, which are wider and deeper than before. In fact, they're even wider than the traction lugs, which were also redesigned to maximize the ability of transfer of torque. Many people ask the question of how many teeth are on this sprocket in regards to the final gear ratio. However, that's not a good way to measure it. What we must measure is the actual circumference of the sprocket itself. So this sprocket here of the competition has 18 teeth, we have 17 teeth, but yet the speed it will remain the same because they both have the same diameter. For this model, we have an all-new track design, and we looked at it to optimize performance in every category, and the first category we looked at was the rubber compound itself. It is now a stiffer rubber compound, so there's less loss of energy. It works more like a spring to track as opposed to a dampener. So with this continuous tread design, what you'll notice is that when you look through from the side, you won't be able to see through the tread. So there won't be big gaps and spaces created between each lug like most of the competition. Now what those spaces do and those lines do, if you would imagine, they work kind of like skis. Now they work well in a forward direction, but when you put them on the side, that traction is just not stopping you from skating on the sides as well. So that will stop that from happening. What it also does is, because of course when you turn, your machine can also skate, is it's allowed us to achieve the best in the industry turning radius as well. Not only does this continuous tread pattern decrease rolling resistance, but it also increases comfort. So instead of having, like the competition does, lugs very separated, which would have more of a bumpy ride and more resistance, this continuous pattern smooths that out for us. To increase the rigidity of the track, besides the rubber compound being used, we've designed that the traction lugs go continuously from one end to the other, increasing its stiffness. What this also does, though, is also provides us with simply more traction. In order to avoid detracking, what our engineers have done is that they've worked hard to stiffen up the center of the tread itself. And the way they did that was both from the underneath and from the top. Now underneath here you have your traction lugs. These traction lugs are thick and they are solid. And then on the top you also have a solid center line tread itself. So with a combination of the two, you'll have a very stiff center line while you'll still have some flex on the sides, because it's the center line that's important when it comes to detracking. In order with our continuous goal to make this a true four-season track system, we've had to change other things up that are traditionally used. And one of the things is this slider itself. Now, the other track systems do have a slider, but they're for a different purpose than ours. We also have a slider, but our slider is not guiding the track like the other systems do. Our slider is there only for comfort. The track itself is not in contact when you're driving with the slider. The slider is put there for comfort in case there is an impact from the tread and the tread would touch this. So normally, in high abrasive conditions, these sliders on other tracks can wear out super quickly. And we've tested ours, and in high abrasive conditions, it's not being worn whatsoever, because our track, again, is not being guided by the slider. Our track is being guided by all of our wheels. In previous models of tracks and tracks that are still on the market today, most of the load is being sent down here to the small wheel in the front. And our engineers wanted to fix that issue. So what they did was that they took this front wheel, which is normally elevated in most systems, and they brought the front wheel down, they increased the diameter, and now they distribute the weight across the entirety of these four wheels for a better ride quality under load and less chances of breaking the system. Traditionally, wheels have a small thin coating of rubber around the surface of it, and that is to stop ice buildup on the wheel. Now ours will also do that, but the engineers increase it to an entire inch thick of rubber around it. So we have the ice buildup, but we also have impact resistance. So if you're going to hit a rock or an obstacle or something like that, you have another barrier of protection for your safety and comfort. When used in extreme conditions of mud, snow, dirt, sand, these track systems tend to work like a conveyor belt, and stuff gets trapped and debris gets trapped, snow, etc., into the inside, and it's basically brought out to the back. So what engineers did was they took the back wheel, which is the same diameter as the front, still has that 1 inch of rubber on the top of it, and they put a tapered effect onto the sidewall of it. So by having it cut at an edge like this, it will help evacuate all of that debris, mud, snow, etc., out and away from the tracks. One of the questions that we're often asked is why we have 3 different types and sizes of idler wheels when the rest of the competition has just one. Well, just having one, of course, would be more cost efficient, but we were looking to make the best tracks possible. So this is the front wheel of the back track, which we designed to be as large in diameter as possible, which helps with rolling resistance and, of course, clearing obstacles as well. And as you can see here, we went pretty much as wide as we could, so that would distribute the weight of the track evenly across the track as well and helps with the load. Here we have the front wheel, and it was designed in a bit of a smaller diameter than the back one because of its need, of course, to clear the fenders. And also, it's not a wheel that is load bearing, so it doesn't need to be as thick or as big as the back one. And third and lastly, we have the back wheel, which is the same diameter as the front one, except it has that taper edge in order to evacuate debris. Our support wheels are the widest in the industry, and we have 4 of them, 2 here and 2 on the other side, that are on this tandem axle, as you can see right here, and 2 of them over here on this pivoting axle. And the reason why this was such a great design, and I tried it and had a great level of comfort, was because as the impact is coming onto here, the tandem takes away the impact, which you'd feel directly because the main axle is right here. So anything that's going to hit that is going to shoot right up and transmit through the vehicle. By having a tandem, one wheel lifts, the other drops, and it's able to take the form of it. And by the time it gets over here to the pivoting axle, well, that axle's far enough away from the center line. And by the time it's over there, the whole track system is working in like a tandem system as well. So it really works to smooth out the ride. In order to try to optimize comfort, the engineers took this tandem axle here, and as you might be able to see, the space between this side, the wheels on that side, and this side are different. This is larger and this is a little bit smaller, and that was done for a reason, so that when you're getting the impacts, they're at different places within it. So you're not just getting them both on the same side, they are offset. So you're always creating this kind of like walking technique that's taking impacts in different areas so that they're not transmitting directly up all the time in the same way through the vehicle. The life of your bearing depends not only on the quality of the bearing itself, but mostly what's protecting that bearing from the outside elements. Now you'll see here on all of our wheels that we have these wheel caps. There was always wheel caps on track systems, and there still is from the competition, but the caps were more for keeping large debris out, like snow, etc. So this being a true 4-season track system, we want it to be able to be submerged. So for us to do that, we have to create as much water protection as possible. So these caps come off very easily here. I'll just twist it and it'll come off itself. And you will see that this has its own rubber O-ring. So on the outside we have a rubber O-ring protecting any water from getting in. Now on the inside of the wheel you have our triple lip patent pending seal that's on the inside of all the wheels. So the combination of the two protects both sides of the bearings from water. Now most manufacturers do not recommend pressure washing for your track system, of course because water will get into the bearings. And one of the ways we've remedied this, and we allow pressure washing, in fact we encourage it, is that we put on the inside of the wheel right here, we have a stainless steel with a rubber molded seal rock guard. And some different competition does have a rock guard, but they do not have this rubber seal that seals things out. So that combination makes this system completely safe for use with water. So what I have here in my hand is our triple lip patent pending seal. So I'm going to show you how this seal works. First of all, you might be able to see up close that there are 3 different layers, 3 lips as we call it, of protection for the water. So after the water gets past, if it gets past one layer, you have the other 2 to protect you. And that goes right here. And once you have your triple lip seal here, you're going to see how the axle along with the rock guard and the rock guard seal just goes on top like this to create a sound water protective system. Previous track kits and track kits that are on the market now, at the core of their idler wheels, it's just the same kind of plastic that the wheel's made from, making it not as strong as we thought it could be. So what we did was we made a one-piece aluminum machine core that is placed on all idler wheels, both front and back of our tracks. One of the important aspects for your tracks is to keep the proper tension. Our engineers simplified this by putting a spring that's an indicator that is a fully compressed spring. So it's a visual indicator that your track is in the right working order. One thing you can do is look at that spring and move the track like this. If that spring does not move, then you are okay. If there's movement in the spring, that's when you have to adjust it. One of the components that we kept due to the fact that we don't have problems with it and people like it is our anti-rotational arm. Now, as you can see here, in front of me I have the competition and I have ours. You would be able to probably visually see that this metal is a lot thinner than this, and the fail point for this system right here is always up here at the top. And it's so bad that sometimes people are advised to bring along an extra part like this in case it breaks in the field. So because it's worked so well in the past, we've also brought this along to the new track system. Our track system comes with a 2-year warranty, and if you register your product, we add an extra year, giving you a total of 3 years, which is industry leading. And there you have it, the new Kimpex Commander HD4 track system. If you want any more information, go to kimpex.com. We thank you for watching.